Just before we begin this speech, I would like to introduce Nick Chang and Daniel. They'll be playing some music during this speech for appropriate effect and to make it more interesting. So writing a speech for graduation has really been tough, mainly due to the matter of appealing to such a diverse audience as yourselves. And as many of you know, when we face hardship in life, we turn directly to the internet as our first port of call, and that's where I went. Found a WikiHow article. For any of you who don't know what WikiHow is, it's kind of like Ask Jeeves, just it's successful. And this article always said to start your speech with a joke to liven the mood. I couldn't think of a joke in time for today, so I skipped that and moved on to the main idea of a graduation speech. It is to recognize, celebrate, and most importantly, appreciate. Teachers and parents are the ones who have guided us throughout our lives with care and knowledge. In my opinion, this is best summed up by the quote, "In a dark place we find ourselves, a little more knowledge lights our way." If you're wondering where that's from, it's a direct quote from Master Yoda, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Thank you. With that said, I would like to start with a round of applause for all teachers, parents, and family who have guided us along this journey. We're all truly grateful.
It has to be said that putting together of what we want to say together has proved to be one of the hardest things we have had to do, harder than A-levels. It is so difficult to sum up what has been a roller coaster of a journey for us all at BSKL, whether you started when the first school opened, like Olivia or Nicholas, or whether you joined later.
There is some serious talent in this cohort, spanning not just academics, but music, sport, and art. Nicholas, Chang, and Daniel, you're both true inspirations with your musical ability and talent. We'll get to hear some of that later on. And seriously, I don't know what the senior orchestra is going to do now that you're both leaving. Nick specifically heading to the Royal Northern College of Music. Wish you all the best and congratulations on that. We also have brilliant artistic talent with both Desiree and Chloe producing great pieces that have been on display in the campus. I know both of you are off to art school, so art college, so congratulations from the both of us on that.
Daniel, Chongor, Imogen, and Owen, these are just a few of our great athletes who have been successful in competitions over the years. And good luck to Daniel, who will be joining the university swim team next year. Furthermore, I would also like to mention the Year 13 volleyball players, Manisha, Gabriel, Anand, Peter, Olivia, James Joanne, David, Chrysaline, and I, for being the most passionate and committed group of athletes. And I really miss playing volleyball with them every Thursday morning.
Peter, your fascination with fish was truly one of the most interesting passions. And it of course culminated in us getting a common room fish tank, as you've all heard. And I never pictured myself at a fish shop selecting fish for school, so thanks for that. The multiple bonding activities throughout the year also come to mind with both the pool and the FIFA tournament. In hindsight, that was just a great excuse to play FIFA in school. And it helped us bond very well with our teachers, too. I also had the personal experience of cooking with Anand, David, Siva, and Kaitrin on a weekly basis in the food tech room with Mr. Scragg. And that's hopefully prepared us for the university life we're about to enter. And really, it's moments like this that are the ones that we will remember forever.
Now we're through the stressful days of A-level exams and university application. Some of us got into their dream universities like Sophia, and some had to go through the pain of rejection. But at the end of the day, we all have different futures waiting for us. I remember when we started A-levels. We all started off with such confidence and enthusiasm. Compared to our GCSE, A-levels seemed easier. We only had 4 subjects, or 3, to study, and there were 10 hours of study periods a week. So we set our goals high, dreamt of our most ideal future, and of course memorized the mark scheme. But A-level was much tougher than what we thought. Every day was full of tests and assignments. Our reports that used to be full of A's and A stars were full of B's, C's, D's, E's, F, and U's. And the future that we dreamt seemed to be too ideal. So we started to think of alternatives like taking a gap year or giving up A-levels. Like Josh and Daniel were seriously considering to open a chicken rice shop instead. People say you fall down 7, stand up 8. We fell down 1,000 times, stood up 2,000 times. The failures and mistakes made us stronger, and we somehow managed to finish high school. And good job to Josh and Daniel for not opening the chicken rice shop. We worked hard to get to this point, but we did not do it all ourselves. Behind each graduate, there were many people. First and foremost, to all the BSKL teachers, thank you for so unselfishly sharing your knowledge, time, and talent with us. You took time to explain assignments, sometimes repeatedly because we weren't paying attention. You put in effort to make lessons more interesting so we would not just tune out even though we did anyways. You allowed us to come to your classroom during after school or lunch for extra help. Words cannot express how much you have influenced us for the past few years.
I'd like to especially thank my personal subject teachers, Mr. Talbot, Mr. Ashford, Mr. Davey, Mr. Simpson, Mr. Tidball, Ms. McLeod, and Mr. Scragg for dealing with me over the past 2 years, some of you more.
I would also like to thank my subject teachers, Dr. Plant, Mr. Coran, Ms. Burton Morgan, Mr. Kendall, Mr. Lovett, and Mr. Hills. We would both also like to mention both Dr. Geddes and Mr. Taylor for the year of computer science.
And I'd also like to say a very special thank you to Ms. McLeod, who helped us a lot last year in our transition to sixth form. Your dedication to sixth form has enabled it to grow and become the success that it is today. Furthermore, you've helped create a fun yet hardworking atmosphere for us, and we're all very grateful. And of course, I wouldn't be able to give a speech without a special mention and thank you to our incredible current head of sixth form, Mr. Scragg. Oftentimes, as depicted in the movies or as the cliche goes, when 3:30 hits or that bell rings, students flock to leave school as soon as possible. Mr. Scragg is faced with the opposite issue here at BSKL. We don't want to leave. It often ends up with him spending a lot of his time trying to get rid of us. And this should just be a testament to the excellent job that Mr. Scragg and the senior leadership team has done to create an atmosphere that we love so much. Moreover, in many cases, the school Wi-Fi is much better than our houses. Seriously, the school has great Wi-Fi. And I hope the words I have said today will help Mr. Scragg secure a pay rise in the future. With that said, I'd like to welcome both Ms. McLeod and Mrs. Scragg down as we have a gift for you as thanks from year 13. I really hope you enjoy your run.
Our form tutors, Ms. Childs, Dr. Plant, Ms. Galloway, Mr. Taylor, Mr. Scragg, Mr. Biggs, and Mr. Duncan were the essential inspirational source that has enabled us to become a person with dignity. They have taught us many major life lessons beyond defined syllabus and scripted books. And I'm sure the PSHE lessons you gave us will be useful someday. Josh and I would like to especially thank Mr. Duncan for tolerating our form group. We will miss your talks about how to survive in Freshers Week without spending 500 pounds a day. We will also miss your random chemistry experiments during form time, and we're really glad that we didn't set the lab on fire. Without Mrs. Avery, we would not have been able to get into university this year. In fact, we would not be here today. The university talks that you arranged, the recommendation letters you wrote for each of us, and the one-to-one sessions you had with us are greatly appreciated. Your students in the future are really lucky to have you. With that said, I'd like to invite Mrs. Avery on stage so we can give you a bit of a thanks community.
You all know what the music is for now. Mrs. Zora, First and foremost, thank you for all the opportunities that you have given the both of us this year. We've really learned a lot from you. Furthermore, thank you for all the hard work that you do for secondary, and all the time and effort you put into making the SLT vision a reality. After seeing the plans for next year's common room, I really wish I could stay another year. They have a TV. It looks great. Of course, we can't forget the person, the leader who makes everything possible, Mrs. Brock. Mrs. Brock has been the key visionary driving the school forward, and having been here for so many years, I've had first-hand experience of the growth at BSKL, and all of this has been largely spearheaded by Mrs. Brock. So we thank you for instilling the core values that we strive for as a school and we will keep for the future. We have both learned a lot this year from you, including how to deal with being grilled during meetings about how to best improve the school. We're truly grateful for the both of you, and we'd like to invite both Mrs. Brock and Mrs. Zora down so we can give you somewhat a token of our appreciation.
Thank you, Daniel. And Nicholas. After today, we leave the protection of BSKL, the community of our friends and teachers, to find and forge our new community. Some of us will go on to university, others will go straight into national service like Suzanne and Kaijun, but each of us will travel our own path. There won't be teachers telling you what to do, Miss Burton Morgan calling you a muppet whenever you don't write units, or Mr. Scragg teaching us how to change car tires even though he couldn't do it at first. We need to be our own adults, looking after ourselves. If there's anything you should take from today, remember that leaving a legacy is not about money or recognition. Whereas, it is to give those with whom you cross paths with a little more happiness and hope. Our time here together as a cohort will not be remembered by grades, popularity, likes, or favorites, but by our relationships and the kind of people we were. And these are legacies that can't be mislead. Class of 2019, from the bottom of our heart, we wish you all the very, very best.
I would like to finish with a quote from a highly respected philanthropist, a true inspirational person in my life and many of yours, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Success isn't always about greatness, it's about consistency. Consistent hard work gains success. Greatness will come. And with that, the only thing left to do now is congratulate the BSKL class of 2019 and all of the people who helped us to get to where we are today with one final round of applause.